Alright, so welcome to building a SpaceX clone session 7. First of all, I do like to apologize that it has taken me about 6 weeks for me to finally recording this episode. I was just a little busy over the summer of 2018. Anyhow, we will continue with the custom pagination. In this episode, you will learn how to display the page number and the total number of pages using something called division modulo. So we will not be using any gems, and I will be providing an example and description of what an integer versus a decimal modulo is. But let's get started.
10, ground control to Major Tom. 8, 7, 6, commencing countdown, engines on. Check ignition, and may God's love be with you.
Alright, so let's go and open up our terminal as we usually do. And then we're going to cd into the directory where you have your rockets project. So I cd into ROR projects/rockets corp. And then I hit enter, and then I type atom space dot, and then open up a new tab, and here type Rails space S to start the server. Alright, text editor is open. Let's go back to see if the server is running. Oops, I didn't hit enter. Here we go. There, okay, server is running. Let's open up the browser. And let's go to localhost :3000 to check that our app is up and running. Alrighty, there we go. So it works good. So first, what we want to do is we want to have the page number displayed. So let's go back to the text editor. So minimizing here. And then I'm going to close some of these files that are open. It's easier to see in the tree when it's just not open. Okay, so then now I'm opening up the app folder again and go to views, missions, and open up the mission list.html.erb. And under here, I'm just going to put in a dummy text and just saying page number displayed. And I'm saving it, then back to the browser and refresh. This is just for demonstrations. Like here, we want to just say the page number where you are when you move to next or previous. Okay, now go to the controller and open up the missions controller. And here under the mission list action, we need to define a new instance variable to display all missions, because the instance variable mission, we already have it limited to 3. Okay, so let's call this instance variable all missions and set it equal to mission.count. Okay, go back to your mission list HTML page, and here above where we just type page number displayed, let's just type there are, open up the Ruby syntax with an equal sign, and say at all missions and close the Ruby syntax. Okay, and then I'm just going to type mission articles. So there we have there are, then the number comes up, mission articles. Go back to the browser and refresh. There we go. So now it says there are 16 mission articles. You probably have 25 because I asked you to do 25 to this time. All right. So here, I'm just going to put in a little break tag right there. We're actually going to get rid of that page number displayed. Alrighty. So we now have to go to the mission controller, and to figure out how many pages they are, we actually going to divide at all missions with the number of boxes per page, which is 8. So let's define a new instance variable and call it at num_pages. And then we say equal at all missions, division sign 8.0. There is a reason why I want the 0.0, because that's going to get the decimal out for now, and we need the decimal actually when we compute things within the controller, not to display to the page. Anyway, go back to the mission list and copy there are at all missions and paste it below, and instead of at all missions, replace it with at num_pages. Okay, and then type pages here. Save it and go back to the browser and refresh. There, because 16 divided by 8 is 2. So we want to get rid of the decimal to the screen. We do that by using the method to_i. So after num_pages, type .to_i. Go back to the browser and refresh. There we go, no longer a 0.0. Okay, now go to the missions controller, and we need to do a few things here. So we need to start using the modulus or mod, because if we have an uneven number of boxes not divisible evenly by 8, there's going to be a decimal, and we're going to manipulate that decimal. But first, actually, let's go back to the mission list, and we're going to add a if-else statement. First, let's type here just what page we are on, so we can easily say that you are on, open up the Ruby syntax with equal sign and say at page and call on that instance variable. Right? And then afterwards I type out of, and then I'm going to copy this here, the Ruby syntax num pages to I and pages. So we will have you are on page number out of this many pages. Go to the browser and refresh. There, you are on page 1, you are on 1 out of 2 pages. And when we go back, we have 0. We don't want 0. We're going to address that later on to make sure it starts from 1 instead of 0. Anyway, go a little bit back and forth and look at the output. So here on my last page, it says you are on page 2 out of 2 pages. Great. Right. Sorry, this is the last mission page. So now let's go and have an if-else statement here in the mission list.html. So scroll down and copy, or actually cut this, if at mission.count less than 8, cut all that and go back up, and above what it says there are at all missions, paste it in. And instead of this end here, we're going to say else, but we can cut that and we can paste it right under you are on at page. Okay, that's where this if statement need to end. And after where it says sorry, this is the last mission page, put in an else statement. So if we're on the last page, this shows, else we have the other text showing. All right, go to the browser and refresh. There we go. This is the last mission page. Perfect. Let's go back. So when we went back one, now we have the other text showing. We're not going to have this much text in the end, but we need to do some validations and make sure our output is correct. Okay. So I'm going to take that num pages away. I deleted it. Let's go back to the browser, refresh. Oops, sorry. This is bad sirens outside here. Anyway, I refreshed. Now num pages are gone. All right. So let's see here. I'm actually going to seed some more boxes. So I go to db and then seeds.rb, and I'm going to seed 5 more. So then I have an uneven number of boxes, because 16 I have now plus 5 will be 21. All right, I'm in my terminal, and I do seeds.db seeds. And I made a mistake. It has to be seed, not seeds. So Rails db : seed. There we go. I think you already should have 25, so you do not have to do this. Okay. there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. So now I see that. Let's go to the browser and refresh. Good. There are 21 mission articles. Perfect. All right. So let's continue. And let's go to the... I'm actually going to close this one. I don't need it. So first, let's temporarily delete this .2i method and go to the browser and refresh. So we now going to, just for exercise purposes, have this decimal displays to the screen again. Now, what we need to do, we need to make sure there's always a whole number displayed. As you notice, I only have 5 boxes on the last page. That's why it says 2.625. But we want that to display 3. Okay, and this is when we will be working with something called modulus. Okay, so let's look at what modulo is. Usually in programming we can write mod. That is usually in old programs, I think Fortran and all those programs, or we can use a percentage sign, which is usually done in more current languages. Okay, modulo, what it is a mathematical operator related to division, but the answer is the remainder of the division. For example, if you have 6 divided by 3, as you know that equals 2, then we say that the remainder, or the modulo, is equal to 0. But if you have 5 divided by 2, which is equal to 2.5, then we have an answer in terms of a modulo, which can be either an integer or a decimal reminder. That is very useful to be able to manipulate in programming. So if we have an integer reminder, we say 5, usually percentage sign in Ruby, 2, which is then equal to 1, which can be a little bit confusing, but take a look at the long division on the right hand side there. We say 2 goes into 5 2 even times, and 2 times 2 is 4, and then 5 minus 4 is 1. That is where you stop. Right before, in this long division, you will have to use the decimal sign. So therefore we say in the integer modular, we say the remainder is 1 and the answer is 1. Now if we use a decimal or a float, as we call it in programming, as you may know, then we actually have a 0.5. The answer then is the decimal. So for instance, if you have 100 divided by 3, which is 33.33333333, then the answer would be that 0.333333. All right, let's continue and let's apply this modulo into our Rockets Corp. All right. Okay, so we first need to go to the missions controller, and we did find an instance variable for the modulo. So let's call that @mod_pages to be consistent. And we set it equal to, and then we say @num_pages. And all we're going to divide by is actually 1.0. So we do percentage sign and then do 1.0. Okay, now let's go to the mission list and then let's output this instance variable. Okay, so let's just put a break tag here and let's open up the Ruby syntax. Actually, let's first say modulo and then open up the Ruby syntax with an equal sign there and type @mod_pages. And if all has gone well, the output will be the 0.625. Go to the browser and refresh. There we go. Okay, perfect. 0.625. So we going to use this and manipulate it so the output becomes a 3.0. Okay, go to the missions controller again. So first, we need an if statement that actually says if @mod_pages is not equal to 0. and we say not equal to 0 by an exclamation mark and an equal sign and then 0. Because we only need to use it, the modulus, if it's not equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, it doesn't matter. So we here say at num underscore pages equal, and let's first say at num underscore pages plus at mod underscore pages. Okay, it's not going to get the right answer, but we are on our way. And then here say else. So if it is equal to 0, the modulus, then let's just say at num underscore pages equal to at num underscore pages. Typically we don't have to say that. I just want to be more explicit. Oops, I forgot it. An S there. Okay, let's go to the browser and refresh. Okay. Oopsie. I forgot an and after that if statement. So let's, underneath here, it needs an and. Maybe you caught my error. Alright, back to the browser and refresh. Alright, perfect. Okay, so now as you see, it says 3.25. It doesn't say 3.0, it says 3.25, so we overshot it a little bit. But I needed to do this for you, so we take one step at a time. Now comes a little bit more manipulation, and we're going to use something that within math is called the complement. Alright, so, and I will explain what that is. You can forget that I mentioned complement if that's too confusing for you, and just follow the instruction. I will post a nice example on all this on the little web page, so you can go and read afterwards. But here, right here, let's say at mod underscore pages, and we will say that equal to 1.0 minus at mod underscore pages. Go to the browser and refresh, and voila, there you have it. Now the output is a whole number 3.0. As you notice, the modulo have changed to 0.375. So this is what is called in math the complement of the 0.625. The complement is always something that makes everything add up to 1. Okay, in case you don't know, I have a physics degree, so I do some math. But I love doing these things as well. Alright, so let's put in actually some output on the last page here. So let's go to the mission list, and so we can actually delete this now. We don't need the mod output, right? So let's just see what we need to do. Okay, I move this up here, and let's copy this. You are on page, and let's go and paste it in under sorry, this is the last mission page. I am doubling up a few things here, but this is just to be explicit in my instructions. Okay, I deleted that break tag. We don't need that. Okay, and here we need to remember the page start from 0, so let's just add page and then a +1 on each where you have the instance variable at page. That will make it start from 1 instead of 0. Go to the browser and refresh. Okay, alright, so now we are on page 3 out of 3. We're going to get rid of that 0.0, but let's go back to the previous page, and as you see, instead of 0, we now start at 1, but let's get rid of that 0.0 there. So I think what we do here, we put a little parenthesis around at page +1, and we just say .2 underscore I. And let's do that on the +1 at page +1 above. I just copied and pasted. Go to the browser and refresh. Okay, nothing changed. I think, oh, I need it for the at num pages. You probably caught that error as well. Alright, so I'm just going to cut this .2i out, and I will paste it in after at num pages. Okay, and then I delete this here. Alright, now let's go to the browser and refresh. Now all should be good. And we need an integer. There we go. So perfect. We have all integers, no decimals. So 1 out of 3. Great. Alright, so let's actually change this. Let's do some styling. So we're going to change this to, instead of the 12 columns, we're going to change it to 6 column. And end with the div tag right on the after the Ruby end statement there. And let's just copy this and put it in, not there, we need to have it below the end of the div tag there, closing div tag I mean. So then we have 2 6 columns instead, and that will be better when it goes into the mobile format. Alright, and also as you notice that the box is a little squished, so here let's just put in some inline styling, and we say style equals quotation marks margin dash bottom, and let's set it equal to 1 rem, and I'm going to be let's put in a, I don't think I need it, but I put in a semicolon there. Good. Now we have a little space there. You know, some of you are probably way better at CSS than I am, so you do whatever you do. You can ignore my CSS. But anyway, so let's change a few things. Go to the missions controller, and instead of 8.0, change it to 7.0, and then go back to the browser and refresh. So as you notice, it now have changed to 4 pages instead of 3 pages. It doesn't really have changed the output at the in terms of the number of boxes, because we still have 8 boxes per page. But this is just to show that the modulus works, and it added up to a whole integer instead of a decimal. Okay. All right. You can, you know, mess around with it a bit. Maybe you put 21 or you're 6 or whatever, but let's just, I'm going back here to 8.0, and let's just go back to the browser and refresh. And we coming to the end here. What I want to do next time, instead of having that page equal, we will work with the output here in the address bar. All right, but let's go to the terminal and let's do our git commit. So here, I just go up arrow to git status. And then clear, and then do git add space dot, right? Okay, and then here let's do git commit dash m and single quotation, and let's just say we added pages numbering. I think it will be called page numbering, but that's okay, and total number of pages. Okay, I think that's the total number of mission articles to be displayed. All right, that's fine. Technically, we should have added things about manipulating with the modulus too, but let's just leave it for this time. All right, on branch master, nothing to commit. Again, I'm sorry it took me so long to finish this one. I will try to put something up once a week. I see you then soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
This is ground control to Major Tom.